I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I was born and reared in Omaha, Nebraska. I graduated from the University of Nebraska at Omaha with a communications broadcast production background, specifically in radio and television. The month before I graduated, I secured a job in Chicago to move here for a music promotion firm, which unfortunately went bankrupt about 4 to 6 months after I moved here for it. And so it was either part of admitting defeat and having to move back to Omaha and realizing, oh my God, if I would stay in Omaha, I'd probably die. Spiritually, mentally, there was just nothing for me there. My godfather was public relations for the American Bible Society. He's an ordained minister. I think he encouraged me to come out when I was 15 years old, to come out and see him in New York. So I flew out and he met me. And when he met me at the airport, the first place he dropped me, because he had to go back to work, he dropped me at Radio City Music Hall. And I can remember standing outside Radio City Music Hall waiting for him to come pick me up. He said, I'll meet you on this corner. And I had the playbill. I had picked up a couple of newspapers, and I saw on the back of some of these newspapers, for a good time, gay sex, call this. And it's like, oh, this is interesting, because it was right all out there. And a kid from Nebraska. Like, this is where I belong. That's why I say I would have died in Omaha if I would have been forced to stay there. But I wasn't even looking for employment after college in Nebraska. I just was destined to get out of Omaha. On my 24th birthday, January of 1979, we had like 69 inches of snow, and John Wayne Gacy had just been caught. And my family thought, what are you doing moving to Chicago? I was probably the last one on the plane. It was heartbreaking for my parents to see me leave, but it was also something I knew I needed to do. Fortunately, I was able to succeed and last here for the last 36 years. Shortly after I moved here, I started exploring some of the nightlife and going to gay bars, which never was a question for me. I did that when I was in Omaha, so I was never questioning my sexual orientation. And I connected with a couple of people that wanted to put on a series of poetry, readings, music, theater, arts events. And that was the Gay and Lesbian Arts Alliance. And throughout that period, then early on, I had met a guy, my now husband, and he was in a relationship, I was in a relationship, and we were friendly, and we would double date and go out and socialize. And then his relationship ended, and then shortly thereafter, mine ended, and a mutual friend of ours said, I think you guys would really hit it off. And so we attended a baseball game where the Sherry's Crispy Critters played against Touche. And so we connected at a baseball game, and it was just, when your spirit and you meet a soulmate. And we've been together now 35 years. Yeah. Eventually we moved into this neighborhood with our then alderman, Mary Ann Smith, and she had expressed interest in starting a gay and lesbian coalition, a group that could advise her on gay and lesbian issues. So we kind of got involved in that with about 20 or 30 other people. She would ask us for our opinions on certain things. What should we do on this matter? What should we embrace? It was formulating policy. When my husband and I were living down in Newtown, we would go occasionally to Our Lady of Mount Carmel on Belmont. And I became friends with their music director, Paul French. And I'd always been interested in singing. I sang in a church choir when I was back in Omaha, but I had not done anything like that as an adult. And so I auditioned with Paul for their contemporary choir. which I ended up singing with for 10 years. Got a music invitation to audition for something at the Auditorium Theater called Too Hot to Handle, which was a jazz gospel version of Handel's Messiah. And to my surprise, I was accepted. And I went to the first rehearsal and I thought, my God, this music goes so fast. It is like Handel's Messiah on steroids. It is. So the first, I made it through, and this is my 10th year doing it. And it is one of the most uplifting experiences I've had. It is a very inclusive chorus. It's black, white. It's all in celebration of Martin Luther King's birthday and legacy. And so there's black and white and all different races, all different ethnics. Gays are part of all of that whole process, and nobody bats an eye. Incredible. So music gives me a lot of pleasure, and it does complete me in a lot of ways. And I always tell people, I go to bed with something in my head, a piece of music, and I wake up with another piece of music. So I'm constantly humming and thinking of music all day long. Worked in one law firm that got disbanded. Went on 5 months extended unemployment benefits. And the very week that my extended unemployment benefits were running out, through somebody that I knew in Windy City Gay Chorus, said, well, I'm retiring and you might be a good fit. And walked in and interviewed, and I made no bones about my sexual orientation with the pastor. And I knew going in that it was a very gay affirming congregation. 30% maybe of our congregation is openly gay and lesbian. And there is an active outreach. Part of the mission from the church is to reach out to groups like AA, Al-Anon. There's a gay men's meditation group that meets here. Different support groups. I don't feel the need to go out and worship in a recognized spiritual house of worship every week, once a month, whatever. I kind of have it in my own head, and when I feel the need to pray or reach out to a higher power, I do, and I know that those prayers are answered. I just sense, I've had a number of experiences where I will feel the presence of somebody that I know. One of my best friends who had passed from AIDS visited me twice after he passed. The first time it was very difficult. He was very agitated, and it was not at rest. And the second time he visited, it was a bright light. It was very calming and very peaceful. And I think that was his way of telling me, you know what? You don't have to worry about me anymore. I'm now at peace with what's happened. I think it's very healthy to live an openly gay lifestyle and not make any secrets about it. I think when you live in hiding, when you live under a shield of pretense, it doesn't bode well for your spirit if you can't be completely aligned with your physical and your mental. And I understand people that don't feel the need to live openly, but it's just, for me, it's much better.